In this question, we are given z as what? Negative 5 into I raised to the power minus 15 and minus 6 multiplied by I raised to the power minus 8. And what we have to get is the conjugate of z. Now, first thing we'll do here is to write z in the form of a plus ib, that is standard form. So I can write minus 5 as it is, and this can be written in the denominator with positive power, that is positive 15, and so in the other part, this is minus 6 and I raised to the power positive 8. Now first we'll break them in the power of 4, right? So as to simplify. So I raised to the power 4 into 3 is 12, and that multiplied by I cube, and this is 6. This is I raised to the power 4 into 2, which is 1 only. So this is 1, right? What I mean to say here, this is 1 and 1 raised to the power 3 is 1. So we are left with negative 5 over I raised to the power 3. And what is I raised to the power 3? I raised to the power 3 is minus I. So I can write minus I, and this is only 6, and 6 divided by 1 is 6 only. Later I can rationalize this part. If I do so here only, that is multiplying and dividing by I, that results to give, in the numerator we'll have minus 5 times I, and this is minus 1. I square is minus 1 and there is a minus sign, so it's positive 1. So we can ignore 1, as any number divided by 1 is the number itself. On the z first, z is what? A plus ib. This is a plus minus is minus I. This is z actually. This is same as this, but then the conjugate of z will be what? Minus 6. Changing the middle sign will be minus 6 plus 5i. So minus 6 plus 5, yes, option B is correct in this case. Is it? Minus 6 plus 5i, yes. Here in this question, we have z1 as 1 plus I and z2 as 2 minus I. We have to get the conjugate of z1, z2. No, it's given. The conjugate of z1, z2 is a plus ib, and then we have to get the value of a plus b. So we have z1 as this. So therefore, what is the conjugate of z1? It will be 1 minus I. And similarly, the conjugate of z2 will be 2 plus I. Now, substituting the value of this, let me first tell you that is conjugate z1, z2 is same as conjugate z1 into z2. So if I substitute the value, this is 1 minus I multiplied by 2 plus I. Now by multiplication, 1 multiplied by 2 is 2, 1 multiplied by I is I, minus I multiplied by 2 is minus 2I, and this I into I is I square, and I square is minus 1, but there is already a minus, so we'll be writing plus 1. Now, like adding the like terms, this is 2 plus 1 is 3, and this is I minus 2I will be negative I. So we got this, and comparing this with a plus b, like we are given this is equal to a plus ib. So if I write this as a plus ib, on comparing the left hand and right hand side, we get this as equating. We get a as 3 and b as what? Minus 1. Right. But then we had to get the value of a plus b. A plus b. So a plus b is what? 3 is a and b is negative 1. So their sum is how much? Positive 2. So yes, option A is correct in this case. In this question, we are given z1 as this and z2 as this, and we have to find the quadrant in which z1 over z2 lies. Now we have to get z1 over z2. So what I can write is z1. So this is z1 over z2. Now taking root 3 as common from here, I can write this as root 3. Taking root 3 as common, what do we get here as 1 plus I? And similarly, we cannot take root 3 common, but we can write this as root 3 plus I as it is. Now here we are going to rationalize the denominator, and that is by multiplying with root 3 minus I. Root 3 minus I divided by root 3 minus I. So that results to give what? This is say root 3 outside only, and this is 1 multiplied by root 3 is what? Root 3, and then I multiplied by root 3 is I root 3 minus I, and I multiplied by I is I square. Well, I square is minus 1 and there is a minus sign, so we'll be writing plus 1. And similarly, In the denominator, this is a square minus b square. A square is what? Root 3 square. Root 3 square is 3. And b square is what? B square is I square, right? So minus will become plus. Now for further calculation, we will take the like terms here. The like terms is these two, that is root 3 plus 1. And the other is what? Taking I common from here, that results to give, that is root 3 minus 1 times I, that whole divided by 4. Now this, let's write root 3 by 4 separately. And this is what? Root 3 plus 1 times, and this is what? I times root 3 minus 1 I. Now if I write them separately, writing this and this separately, what we can conclude here, that now what you can observe, that this is positive here, a is positive, that real part is positive, and root 3 is bigger than 1, so this is also positive. So we can see that when a is positive and b is positive, the real and the imaginary part both is positive, it lies on the first quadrant. The question is to find the value of I raised to the power 4x plus 1 minus I raised to the power 4x minus 1 over 2. Now applying the laws of exponent, we can write this as what? This is I raised to the power 4x multiplied by I raised to the power 1, and this can be written as I raised to the power 4x multiplied by I raised to the power minus 1, and this whole divided by 2. We can write I raised to the power 4x as what? 1. So what we get, placing this as 1, placing this as 1, this is 1 multiplied by I is I. So this is I minus, this is again 1, so it is I raised to the power minus 1, which I can write as 1 over I raised to the power positive 1. And this whole divided by 2. Now if I take LCM in the numerator part, this is I only, and I multiplied by I will be give you I square minus 1 divided by 2, so I can write 2 over here also. Now next, what is I square as? I square is minus 1. I square is minus 1, so this is minus 1 minus 1, that whole divided by 2i. So finally it is negative 2 divided by 2i, and if they get cancelled, we get this as minus minus 1 over I. Later we can rationalize it, but that means if I multiply divided by I, so if I multiply by I and divide by I, that results to give what? In the numerator we'll get minus I, and the denominator I into I is I square, and I square is minus 1. So on simplifying we get only I. So the answer over here is the option. Now this is A is the correct option in this case. In this question, we are given the value of I raised to the power 103 as a plus ib, and then we have to get the value of a plus b. Now we can write I raised to the power 103 as what? We can write 103 split in terms of 4. This is 100 and 100 plus 3. Now further we can write this as I raised to the power 4 raised to the power 25, that multiplied by I raised to the power 3, applying the laws of exponent. We know that I raised to the power 4 is 1, so we can replace this 1, and 1 raised to the power 25 is 1 only. So this is 1 multiplied by I cube, and we know that the value of I cube is what? This is minus I. The value of I cube is minus I. Now comparing this with the RHS, we can equate this with what? A plus IB. So we can say that A plus IB is equal to, I can write this as 0 minus I. Now on comparing the left and right hand side, we can say that the value of A comes out to be what? 0, and that of B is what? Minus 1. Now what we had to get the value of A plus B. We have to get the value of A plus B. So what is A plus B? This is A plus B equals A, which is 0, and B, which is negative 1. So we get this as minus 1 is the answer for this.